Now we're going to look at factoring three-term polynomials where a is not 1 using something called the trial and error, guess and check method. Trial and error is generally what you'll hear. Sometimes some people call it guess and check. This is the method most of us grew up learning. It's a great method. It's a method that I really like if you like to just jump to an answer. And I personally still factor this way for the most part on these, but like I said in earlier videos, I recommend using crisscross if you're learning factoring for the first time or if you're looking for a method that just really works. I think crisscross is the best of all the methods, but this is a good method. But if you struggle with signs at all or thinking ahead kind of on some things with these, this may not be the method for you because of the signs. That's well, we'll talk about it, but the crisscross takes that away for you, so you can just it gives you the signs actually by following the procedures. The AC method also gives you the signs by following the procedures, but it's a really long procedure. In the AC method, or grouping, they'll call it, I really don't recommend. Some people really like it. It's okay if you got it down. I'm going to show you an example in one of these videos of that too. But anyways, I just picked 3 examples. These are 3 different problems here. I'm asking you to factor by trial and error. I did not put a GCF in any of them, so there's no GCF to take out here, but always look for that. There may be that in any given problem. So I do not have a GCF among here. It's a trinomial. A is not 1 because of the fact that the leading term is not a 1, so I have to factor using one of these methods. And so the trial and error method basically is what it says, jump to the answer. And so the answer is a binomial times a binomial if this thing factors. Now you can use some little hints that we used in crisscross in the video as well, where you look at this and go, wait a minute, I'm looking at this problem and I'm thinking, okay, 6x squared, 2 things that multiply would be 6, x squared would be, the close together factors would be 2x and 3x. I'd probably go with that since this number is pretty close to these. And so I think I'm going to try the close together factor first. And so it's just basically a trial and error. You try it, multiply it out. If it works, you got it. So, but using those hints can really save you some time. So I'm going to go with the 2x and the 3x. It's the close together factors. Now I look at the back term, c. I'm going to multiply these to get 6. Well, there's 2 and 3 as well. It's the same number, so the same factors. I can do 6 and 1 or 2 and 3. If I choose 6 and 1, I cannot choose 6 and 1. Okay, why can I not choose 6 and 1? Say I pick 6 and 1. I'm like, wait a minute, I think it might be 6 and 1. 6 can't go here, common factor within is of a 2. 6 can't go here, common factor of a 3. So 6 and 1 is out of the question. If we were to use 2 and 3 for the front factors, we cannot use 6 and 1 because of that fact. Same thing as like in the crisscross. So it's going to have to be the 2 and the 3 if I use these 2. I can't put the 2 here for the common factor that case. So this has to be a 3, this has to be a 2. Now the thing with signs, if this is a plus, that means these back factors are the same sign. When you multiply them, you get a positive. So they both have to be negative or they both have to be positive. I know they're positive by looking at B, because when you add your middle terms, you get a positive. So I know for a fact it's plus and plus. Now you always want to multiply it out to check to see if you got the correct answer. So when you multiply this, you should get 2x squared, I'm sorry, not 2x squared, but 6x squared plus 4x plus 9x. I'm using that distributive property. And then plus 6. Combine your middle terms. And that's what we're looking for. And so we know we just factored this thing, and so my answer is right here. It's factored completely. Now, if you ever remultiply this out using this method and you notice you get the right number, wrong sign, switch your signs. And so we'll mess with that, and we'll see some examples like that as we go. But that's a trial and error method, great method. If you're really good at factoring and you're really good at signs, it can be very quick. It's the way I actually like to factor because I just jump to it. I like to get the answer right away. And you can kind of think ahead with them and see which factors are which by thinking of the multiplication process. So if we were to look at this one, 4x squared minus 23x plus 15. That's starting to get a little bit big, that number comparative to these numbers. I'm thinking, maybe it's a different, possibly these are going to be a little bit farther apart. Instead of doing 2x and 2x, maybe I'll go 4x and 1x. And that's usually what I will try when I start recognizing that. But that's just a guess. It's a guess and check, you know, or trial and error. I mean, you might want to try 2x and 2x and see what happens. But I think for this case, I'm actually going to try the 4x and 1x. And because that number seems to be getting a little bit, well, really small compared to those. But then I have 15. I could do 15 and 1 or 5 and 3. I'm going to try the 5 and 3, I think. And I'm thinking ahead on this. I'm going to stick the 5 here and the 3 here. How can I think ahead? 4 times 5 is 20. 3 times 1 is 3. I'm looking for 23 in the middle. So that takes practice, but that's why I really like factoring this way myself. And once you see it, it does. Most math teachers, you know, you talk to, they generally factor this way because they've learned this way, but it's also, you know, they see the signs because we're dealing with them every day for our daily lives, and so we get really used to it. But anyways, if I'm looking at this, now this sign tells me they have to be the same signs, because when you multiply these back two factors, you get a positive 15. And that tells me they're both negative, because when I add them, I get a negative, so I know the signs already. Go ahead and try it. If you multiply this out, you'll see you get 4x squared minus 20x minus 3 more x's is minus 23x plus 15. So we just factored it correctly. And so we'll jump to the next one. The next one, there's no GCF to take out on this thing. This number is pretty close to these numbers. I'm thinking probably the closest together factors for 8, which would be 4 and 2. We have 8 and 1 or 4 and 2. So I'm going to try 4x and 2x. Now for 9, I'm thinking close together factors for the same reason. What is it, 3 and 3 or 9 and 1? So we'll go with 3 and 3. Now the signs on this one. I notice this is a minus and this is a minus. Since this is a minus, you know one has to be a plus, one has to be a minus. You can just stick them in and try it. If you're wrong and you get, say, when you multiply it out, you get the right number, wrong sign, then you just switch them. And so I'll show you that. I'll actually get the wrong sign on purpose here. I'm going to go with this a plus and this one the minus. So when I multiply this, I'll end up getting an 8x squared plus 12x minus 6x minus 9. When I combine my middle terms, I end up with 8x squared plus 6x minus 9. I wanted a minus 6x, I got a plus 6x. Cool, everything was right except for the signs. Switch your signs, it'll multiply out correctly. So this will end up becoming minus, and this becomes a plus. And so this will change when you double check it. You'll get 8x squared minus 12x plus 6x, which gives me the minus 6x minus 9. And so I know I have the answer correct. Circle it, and you're done. That is a trial and error method. Great method, but if you struggle with signs at all, I definitely recommend the crisscross. The crisscross is going to get you there almost as fast, but it's going to tell you what signs to fill in. You just have to remember how to do the crisscross, but it's really not bad after you do a handful of them. So, all right, next video, I'll show you how to do a modified, or not modified AC, but we'll just do the regular AC or grouping method. And then that's one that I recommend kind of stay away from, but I like to still show it because some people are really good at it and have remembered it from other classes. And so my goal is I really want you to build a factor, and if that's the method that works for you, we'll use it. So I wanted to show you an example of that so you can check that video out.